Williams Broadcast. I am Williams. You are welcome. Yes, nabaramukia muno, mbaramukize, abayise ngobi, abayise mena, abayise mukose, kodeyo, abaganda, mbaramusiza nnyo. I've done some research about what a stable nation looks like. Definitely, I've written down some stuff here. I'll just outline big bullets: rule of law and justice. You see, that a better Uganda, a stable, progressive and developing nation needs rule of law and justice. A strong, fair legal system where laws apply equally to everyone, leaders included. Bullet 2. I've thought about good governance and leadership. That, in my opinion, we need transparent, accountable leadership that puts national interest above personal gain. That is according to Williams Broadcast. Number 3, I've thought about economic strength. In other words, I mean jobs, trade, innovation, and equal opportunity for citizens to thrive financially. About a new Uganda, a stable, developing, growing nation, I thought about security and peace, protection from internal and external threats, plus strong institutions that safeguard stability. Bulletin number 5, national unity and social cohesion. That is a sense of belonging, respect for diversity, and putting the country above tribal, religious, and political divides. That is according to me, Williams on Williams Broadcast. Why am I painting my own picture, or why am I trying to put to you what I envision as a new Uganda? Because I am a broadcaster, I'm a communicator, I'm obliged or obliged to give you my opinion, because you're my viewers, you're my followers, you count on us who have these channels. This is my opinion also to you guys, to go in the comment section and give you otherwise comments or supplement or complement what I put here. So I've thought about, in number 6, education and knowledge. An educated population can think critically, innovate, and drive progress. I'm thinking about what I'm giving you what I envision as a stable and developing nation. Number 7, healthcare and social welfare. Systems that, in other words, the meaning of infrastructure and structure, welfare, social welfare, infrastructure and development, I mean roads, energy, communication, technology to connect and empower people. Number 7, which I made, which I had skipped, is healthcare and social welfare, meaning the systems that protect citizens' health, dignity, and basic human needs. In number 9, respect for human rights and freedoms. In most cases, people will focus on human rights and freedoms. Probably it's the easiest to flag at the far front. Human rights, freedom, human rights, freedom. But to me, it came number 9, respect for human rights and freedoms. Meaning that we need the freedom of expression, belief, and the participation in shaping the country. I'm trying to give you some information regarding my research, so that we can acquire education, me and you together. I know this kind of content is not what you want, but I am trying also to put this kind of content so that some fans can get off this channel. Yeah, kasitoba webiri hadi badduke, so that in the channel yange njitereza edde wenjagala mberenga n'abantu bange abatono batajja kundekanya nnyo. Number 10, strong institutions. Definitely independent judiciary, parliament, electoral bodies, and the civil services that function beyond individuals. There are 10 I tried to read books for all the freedom fighters. I tried to listen to documentaries, to human beings communicating to multitudes, to masses, whenever they come in the name of fighting for rights, human rights and freedoms of expression. Some of them will come up with 5 bullets of what they stand for, what they plan to do when they get into power. In Uganda, we have the 10 points program. Nelson Mandela had several bullets. See, everyone comes up with stuff. That's why I ended up with 10. And I'm like, whenever I hear someone say a new Uganda, a better Uganda, a developed, a changed, a redefined, and a metamorphosized nation, to me, I'll look for this in whoever communicates to me and needs my support. It is what I want to listen to someone. Of course, among all this, you'll find that you who is watching Williams on Williams broadcast, the rule of law and justice, the good governance and leadership, the economic strength, the security and the peace, the national unity and social cohesion, the education and the knowledge, the health care and the social welfare, the infrastructure and the infrastructure and development, the respect for human rights and the freedoms, the strong institutions. Definitely, you don't forget the fact that there are 3 other pillars you need to look at. Intentionally, I never mentioned them here. But there is culture, respect for culture, etc. Also, there is faith, religious denominations, religious. Religious denominations. And again, technology. And cyber. Manyi content ono abamenya kama bannaye abeeko gwawe mola tweyongereyo William ekikulu talina vibe iye njagala mbagobe ku channel eno temumanyi bwe mbagobako bulijjo nali Selector Williams live Selector Williams nero kuli amunteekako olujjanja bwe nkola thumbnail yange kulike William walabika nga atakyaliwo nenkyusa ne mubula ninjifuula Selector Williams live Uganda nero kuli amulina olujjanja ffe kati ffe tukulabanga owa kino lwaki tokola booti nenkyusa nengenda mu Greenland broadcast ne babula ne baga oba yalagawa tebakyandaba nagenda okulaba nansi okunteekako olujjanja ku Greenland broadcast nenkyusa Williams broadcast. What am I doing in all phases of rebrand? I'm trying to shape into a more organized. You know, as a communicator, you get to be flexible every now and then because these platforms are taking center stage. We're supposed to harness these opportunities of internet to broadcast, at least to emulate a little bit the mainstream platforms, which have better infrastructure, better equipment. Naffe tulina okujja ne tucommunicate nga tetujja bbawa buli ssaawa mutuwa omuceere ennyama muceere. Let us get some wound. I understand this kind of wound content you guys don't like. But I have my people. Peter Mukasa. I have some people from London. Do you know that even when I get demoralized, there are people that call and be like, the way I listen to you, your analysis is good. And I'm like, wow. Gendera utova kumulamu and I'm like, whoa. So we are shaping this channel into that. I understand even you guys, you people, my viewers, some of you are like, Williams, how about we remain with our Uganda? Like I told you in my previous streams, I'll be doing basic English and you can hear me the way I speak my English. For us to, what we talk as Ugandans, for others also to know what we are talking about. You know, yeah, it is an official language. You guys agreed. when the colonial masters came, you agreed for us to use Uganda. Oh, definitely Ngere Song will come in. Yes. So I've talked about, after the 10 points, there is culture, faith, and technology and cyber, which I believe I don't want to put this way. Because, for example, all what is outlined here, you'll find human resource definitely belonging to a certain faith. All the human resource under the law and justice, under the infrastructure development, under the education, someone has some faith, some faith somewhere. So I never wanted to repeat myself saying faith, culture. Someone from the infrastructure development has culture, is either from Obusoga, but is in the electoral commission. So these are the basics. I'm putting these ones as basis for all the 10. You need to have faith. You might choose to belong to the traditional way of praise and worship. Beke, 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 beke. Ejembe lya muno namuzinda. William wakola TV eno wamala. So faith is paramount and is basis, is among the 3 basic stuff we need as a developing country, especially as we envisioning the new Uganda. So culture also paramount. Technology definitely is what we have known for years, especially when digital came into play. The Y2K compliance came into play and technology came. But later on, with the Y2K compliance from the IBM English business machine, computerization of the industry, remember the days of, during the days of Industrial Revolution in some continents or countries, regions, they were still using the IBM, International Business machines. But now, internet, cyber has improved, has upgraded. There has been an evolvement of internet. Let me call it internet. Bw'omujja okitegeera amangu. The cyber. Nti ekintu ekyo ekyokubeera ku mutimbagano okigatta mu technology, because there is technology in some cases where there is no per se use of artificial intelligence. There might be technology. There has been technology before artificial intelligence. So that's why I'm saying technology and cyber. Cyber waggulu awo ebitambulirawo, internet, extranet, intranet, awo mu bbanga. Kakati ojja kwekanga nti biri byonna byenjogeddeko, you who is watching and listening to me and you are aspiring to become a president of Uganda, vice president, definitely you cannot aspire. They just select you, choose you to become vice president. You as a name pick, think about in your manifesto. Whenever you see rule of law and justice, definitely you will need technology. As I was preparing myself for the last 7 days, I looked at all the members of parliament Uganda has in that house. Looked at how the world is changing in terms of internet space, and vis-a-vis who we have in parliament, how technology is changing vis-a-vis the aspiring candidates of the NRM, of the National Unity Platform, of different political parties. I was like, wow. I believe this will be, I will have 3 programs, 3 streams of 4. Because about culture, we have challenges already. Putting the other ones, the 10 aside, with culture itself, we have issues because culture has Omokama, there is Chabazinga, there is Kabaka, there is our traditions, there is the customs, the norms, the heritage of Ska. It is, but definitely under the culture we already have issues, and triggered or inspired. The issues we have and challenges are triggered by the politics, protocol, the politics, the word politics. And the politics normally deploys propaganda, public relations. Definitely, the politics will come with their propaganda to make it look like whenever you say, I am a Musoga, it is sectarianism. Yes, recently I had Mr. Frank Gashumba promising multitudes to Jaja Yoweri Kaguta Museveni that all the Banyarwanda I lead, me as Frank Gashumba, will support Jaja Museveni. But if it was Kyagulanyi, or if it was Uganda saying that all the Baganda behind me would rally behind Kyagulanyi, people would be, you see Baganda, a sectarian. You see? So, politics is silly and stupid to an extent that people are using it as a tool of intimidating people. You're watching Williams, and this is the Williams broadcast. So, culture already faces issues triggered and inspired by politics, and we cannot shy or run away from politics. There is this friend of mine, a brother, I'm just making a mention now. Chaz Musoke Koja in California has a new book. Just go on Amazon and put in Behind the English. He also has a YouTube channel. He has started telling, doing some voiceovers. It is a good book. You get to read that book. So I'm giving you this. I'm giving the book promotion. I'm giving it a mention. Also, Mordecai Melissa has a book. But how come I forget the title of that book? But again, the book has much English. Mordecai Melissa. But again, next time I'll come, I try to come with their pictures. Sometimes I put Koja's book here. But you go on Amazon and look for Behind the English. It is a good book worth reading, and especially regarding what I am communicating right now. It is Williams broadcast with me, Williams. I've told you that talking culture, we already have issues. There is faith. Coming in this room where I am, wooden room, I watched and listened to a pastor, that is Pastor Jamada, giving his opinion, referring to a video clip by a sheikh. There is a back and forth between sheikhs of Islam practice and rest of the faith. At some point, I saw Sheikh Chiti not satisfied by the practices at Namugongo. It was like, you guys are being superstitious. And worshipping images, maybe, worshipping idols. A debate started gradually to a stage where we are now, where Christians, especially for some Christians online, not talking about a reverend father, not talking about a vicar general, not talking about an archbishop, not talking about a cardinal or a bishop, no. But well-wishers belonging to the different denominations of religion, Catholic and stuff, young Generation Z on internet, are like, you told us Catholics, we bow down before idols. But how about you guys when you go to Mecca? So that is a long debate, and it is about the faith I've put here. I've told you on top of the 10 bullets are put as fundamentals of a developing and stable nation, I am envisioning as a new Uganda coming 2026 for consideration by all the aspirants for presidents. I thought so important about the three culture, which already needs shape. It is in tatters. Now the faith. You find, I've told you by the time as I was walking to this room, I was listening to Pastor Jamada trying to give an opinion about Sheikh's Sheikh who was giving an opinion, preaching a yidim about how people used to visit, to do pilgrimage to Mecca. That at some point people used to come purely naked. That is according to the Sheikh. And the reason they came naked, to make sure that they never came with a thing, to avoid scenarios where at least someone would come with a cloth on their bodies, which cloth was stolen. Okwewala okujja n'olugoye olubbe, abantu bajjanga na bwereere okulamaga e Makka. So we have two scenarios. Pilgrimage at Mecca, pilgrimage at Namugongo. For me, I'm not Mugungu. And I know you have your emotions, your psychology and emotions are high. But again, Pastor Jamada's input definitely has opinions. He's opinionated and entitled to all the opinions. But what is so interesting to me is that all the faiths, all the denominations are taking too much energy and time to convince that they are the right religion. For the last 2 years, that's what I've seen on internet. We are the bestie. We are the one that will take you to heaven. We are the bestie. We are the true heavenly. We are the bestie. And like I told you, if you are to stably progress going forward as a nation, you need to respect people's faith, and there needs to be faith. I'll tell you, in some countries, definitely, there is liberty and freedom of worship. But you'll find that some administrations don't prioritize faith and worship when they're making decisions. Yes, because the more you concentrate so much on faith and worship when you're making decisions of administration, especially when you're appointing leaders, you'll find yourself, this position would be good for Nasolo Immaculate. But Nasolo already is a Catholic. I have already appointed Monica, who is also Catholic. This has to go to a Muslim. Jalia. Jalia is not covered that with internet. Jalia. But Jalia, this belongs to Muslim. Jalia. A Musoga would be a better vice president, but during our agreement, we have reached a resolution that vice president should be in Uganda. Remember, at some point they wanted to appoint Katikiro, but there was a lot of back and forth because it was still needed as a Katikiro. Yeah, after second I was planning to, but again, okay. He would be a good one, but he's a Musoga. Okay. But again, I have issues in northern Uganda. Okay, yes, Kalupo. You see? Faith and culture are compromises now. For people like In America, in most cases, it is on merit. Even if it is a Muyindi, Obama ended up a president. A Muyindi became prime minister in the United Kingdom. It is upon you. The richest man across the world's richest man is Elon Musk. Elon Musk, the world's richest. There are stuff that don't know religion and the culture. Mark Zuckerberg of the Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp is among the richest. Top 5. The boss of the Microsoft and English business machine, that is Bill Gates. But in Uganda, it will be her. It belongs to Muslim. That's why we have issues with constituencies like Awempe. Should be. I understand even in the US, you'll find that but let me get to my point. You guys, you people, I'm sorry for calling you guys. Greenland podcast. I appreciate you being with me. We are doing education and information. Faith has already an issue when it comes to governance, when you allow it to determine who becomes the leader. Protestant. Mama no chikwata ke chaba katuliki. Chibera chaba katuliki nawe. No. Then also about faith. People are so happy, feel good when they deny their heritage, culture, traditions. And we say, Mbiegana. And okwegana, the Satan is okay. But denying your culture and tradition, you cannot grow, you cannot develop. You know, reasons like why some Asian countries develop and prosper is based on the culture they uphold. Oyingira mu biduuka n'osangayo obujani bw'aba China, obujani bw'aba Japan, oyo martial arts bw'aba Japan. Era bo basangayo ne mu Commonwealth Games nga balina omuzannyo gwe bazannyawo nga sigutegeera nga gwakwetemyako bo baagugunjaawo. Ngo bagugunjaawo naye ffe tulembera ku bitabi tukwatako football. You cannot competitively win. You cannot compete with the innovators of football. Americans have their American football. For us, we concentrate on the soccer. Soccer mama, soccer Wednesday bela. Mani ndi kumutima mama. How mama okero tukuba omupira faba mani mama niyo banaguza omuzannyo omulala hani nagwe naliyese no gamba labenji wabukasoli. Gwenganya yaguza omuzannyo wa mani. Naawe otundira omubisi gw'enjuki, awo otundira omubisi omusogolere kabalagala wandizi. Mani yo kulono nalesa abasajja abapya. Situ n'ekigambo pedi. So, faith has a challenge of mushrooming dockets or denominations. Of course, we have a fundamental one that came during a revival, and that is the born-again faith. You know what it stands into? Praise God. When I was in Michigan, I preached and demons killed. At least many of our demons. Many of our demons. Emizimu nejiva ku bantu. Nze wokawe bampangu. Owaye William. Ibyo byabireta mu episode eziddaku ate nani anakanga. Kuba goli mwana mulungi nnyo. Mu family yo oyina mu amalokole na suna mulokole ayinza n'ogenda mu ggulu ku Mande. Oyinamu abakatuliki ennyo senga omugenzi yali mu Protestant ate gukiina yali musiraamu kati ffe tubalansinga family yaffe era waliwo enjogera yogamba maama nnyabo omwana atulumba oyo ffe takimanyi nti luno olujja lw'abasiraamu mama tutakimanyi nti ffe abeera kumanye gundi mu bikamu bamumanya olujja lw'abano lw'abasiraamu kati I am there andi bayina lama sakata. It is good to speak in tongues but people coming okwerimbikamu ebyo ne babba abantu. What am I driving at or to? My point is towards the fact that even when a religion is good, even when born-again faith is good, impersonators and masqueraders have infiltrated your faith. Abayaye bali mu balokole. They are gathering, the fundraising, exploiting and manipulating. You cannot grow as a nation. Okuja Congo developing a clear policy about the faith. But again, they will tell you, Katondo jagala muteekako policy. Olira bakutiisa. And kizibu nnyo. It is hard to find an African president. Apart from, I heard that Kagame, Paul of Rwanda, has clear policies and regulation guidance about the Pentecostal born-again churches in Rwanda. The business of in the morning, kokoliroko, budde, alleluia, alleluia, Yesu, alleluia. Abantu tebagenda ku mirimu. Kokoliroko, budde buzibye. Overnight. If abakeddemu alleluia, kati overnight. Ebirigwawo, nerigwawo, kono muziki, birigwawo. You cannot. Of course, tumusinzenga, nsendanga, bukedde, ne buwungeera. I understand. In the morning, noon time, evening and night. I know. But in America, here, in America, that's why the TD Jakes, the Joyce Myers have tapes where people can listen and watch evangelism. In the US, I've been for the last 3 years. There is no way you can, in the morning, be in church when you have to pay for the gas, the internet, the water, the apartment, insurance, emotoka yennyini. You have a lot of bills. You cannot kukera mu lunch hour. And even when there is mass, Catholic mass or a sermon in Pentecostal churches, people are like, Mukama abeere naawe, abeere naawe, nange kubanga wajaawo, walwirawo. Niba mandowooza lwaki ky'oba saagala kwogera Luganda nva ku mulamwa. Bana ab'omu America oba ogamba musemitima ntugiraziza eri nga abagoberezi bali wesaanyira okuteeka kiteekwa kubanga yebali nnyo yebali mama yebali nnyo woolwirawo bwoti. But in Africa kyaki y'abalokole ekyatandika, what started as a lunch hour prayer that took at least 20 or 30 minutes now is a day prayer, whole day prayer. You find all the borders packed at a church at 10 a.m. They bought from China keyboards, guitars, rhythm lead. They have a back line, full concert. Kati kudude. An economy is at a standstill. Ababoda tebakoze, abakazi balesebwa amaka gaabwe, sente z'obumeeza ze babalekedde tebagirire, n'entono ze babalekedde bazireseebwa pasita. Pasita yagamba mama nyabo tulina okugula ekituuti. Oziwaayo munnaye n'okutula eppeesa. Omukazi ow'eppeesa tomanyi bwe yawaayo ssente kye yafuna. Owaayo eppeesa. Nabbi Eriya tojjukira bwe yagamba baali akagundi engano gye baali basigazzaawo mugaati ne waakiri baffe. Maama nyabo Katonda akuweera. Tojjukira Katonda bwe yaleeta ebyennyanja bye n'abikubisaamu ne mugaati. Omuwa omusumba mu Baleevi tokimanyi. Mu Baleevi mu by'Abaleevi bagamba muleete ebimu eby'ekkumi n'egundi. Omuwa omusumba. Do you know how pastors are getting more richer day in and day out? You cannot grow as a nation ng'okkiriza such exploitation and manipulation. Ebimu mubimanyi. Omusumba n'akeera tomorrow and is like bullet season njazeddako edda naye I'm telling you a little bit about bino. I'm laying a foundation and this is a preamble. This is our first episode of envisioning a new Uganda. And you're like, a pastor is like, I need 1 billion. And it has to come from you. Hey, by God's grace. And you know, first Sunday, second Sunday, third Sunday, the pastor gives accountability. That is if he's willing to give one. About our billion, we have been able so far to raise 600 Uganda million shillings. 600. We are remaining with the 400. And you're like, but when you look at the congregation, you don't believe that they have all that money. Where do they get all that money from? The loans. They go to Centenary Bank, they go to this year, they go to Pride, they go to Vichi, they baleteza akameza bababa with babalekedde. A lot happens to make sure that sente za pastor is mukama tuzireta. Before you know it, the pastor has a cruiser, a Land Cruiser. Off-road, those big cars, off-road. Enenekira omuzigo. The pastor akaboto katandika okuzimba. The pastor akyusa amasuuti. Bano basigala batyo. And moreover, they don't realize. And the money is going in a certain corner of a pastor. Giving is okay. Sacrificial offerings are okay. First fruit harvest. And also, we shouldn't just copy and paste stuff from the Old Testament or New during those days. Because bali bakungulanga ngano gye baleetanga mulete ebibereberye ebyamakungulanga naye kati omubereberye ng'olabayo pastor agamba nti ndeetera muwogo oba nakati. Have you ever had a pastor expecting nakati oba muwogo? Lwaki ebibereberye byonna bibeera bya ssente? Nze nabagamba nyina emyaka mikadde kati sikyatya. Lwaki ebibereberye byonna bibeera bya ssente? They all concentrate on money, rupiya. Kuba bagezi babatwala process by process because you're naive. A nation cannot develop when people batandika lanchawa. Ne bazibya ate sente ne bazibakuulamu muli amutunula. So faith cannot be a good pillar for a developing country when there is a lot of manipulation and exploitation. Also about culture. About culture, we have the so-called traditional healers. Politics also has successfully eaten up culture by molding their own images responsible or representing culture and traditions of different parts of Uganda or Africa. How? Judge Museveni will come up with an idea. And an idea is conceived and given birth to it. It is given birth to by putting a person. Akulira abasamize, nakulira yes, ono yakulira abasamize. And you remember the days of Beni Guru up to Mama Fina. And when we reached Mama Fina, now we have Senga Kuranamani Mama Fina, versing each other. But again, when you go to the basics of traditions and the power of faith, traditionally, for me, I have two different areas where I grew up, and one of them is in Buyegomba. I stayed with my Jaja Nabadana Musoke. Just a yard from our home, we had Jaja Nakas. Jaja Nakas was a traditional Tuleina Omutendes. Baba Itabatende. Oh, we used to dance Mbutu. Jaja Nakas. I saw how powerful our traditions and culture are. Let me tell you, nze njagala kuba nabonna bakulembera abasamize wabeewo gwenteera awo tadooba awo mugambe gusinziira from a distance ogambe empewo lubaale azikiza ettaali eyo tadooba ogimanyi munaku tadooba okwata omukebe gwa kimbo n'ogusala ne baguteekako akasanikira n'oteekamu ekitulibooti n'oteekamu olutambi ku jjinja olugoye lwa jjinja mwe temwaliyo n'oteekamu olugoye lwa jjinja n'oteekamu amafuta mu lutambi olwo manya mu kakebe ako olutambi leero kulembera bwe luti waggulu n'okolezaako omuliro gwaka tapping kerosene from the kakebe kano munaku tadooba anti egireeti tadooba maama unaagituusa mu nnyumba ng'ogijja mu kiyungu egenda okuzikira maama ogiteekako bwoti nekwokya noganaye banna ye no nekuzikirako nga muli mu mmere mulya kyaggulo mukulya emmere kyaggulo zino ennyindo zammwe nnyindo za minye ennene oba ossa bwoti nga olya ebijanjalo by'amageera n'ettooke ejjajja alibeze ennyindo nezikiza ettaala enkuba erwatuka ekiro olina okuddayo gikoleeza gwe wakulirako mukyalo do you know what I am talking about kati munaku tadooba abasamizi b'ennaku zino be batuteerawo mu maaso tasobola and it makes our culture and traditions weak because even Jaja Museveni will tell you bano be muyina and you're telling me culture is big but I know is and remember there's stages where you mwabyokera muyita start but let me concentrate on this the puppets put in place representing culture and traditions definitely most of them or some of them are fake how ewajjajja nakazi nga batandika namalere mukone nnyo namalirako nenkondere ejjembe nambaga namalere mukone nnyo namalirako nenkondere ezo ennyimba ziwulira ne balyoka bale eri ejjembe nambaga omusajja baamuyitanga musisi n'afuluma ebweru endu y'ekitooka ogimanyi ng'erina enkolokolo y'ekitooka ogimanyi ggwe nga bayimbye namalere mukone nnyo namalirako nenkondere n'agenda akuulayo endu y'ekitooke n'agireeta mu ddiro n'agikuba bwe pu n'alyoka yeekasuka amagulu ganne geekwata mu mirabba gy'oluggi gy'ennyumba. That's how powerful ebintu bwe biri mu bye muyita star and ye culture yammwe muyina olugezigezi olw'okwesiba ku bintu ebitabakwata okuba mbeera mu Luganda mba mugamba you have a wiseke of tying yourself to what doesn't belong to you. Something is not attaching itself to you, on you and you're tying yourself on it. Yes, let me be in English. The wiseka should stop. Twabanga tukyali awo nga mwabadde ku luzzi lwe Nababirye ne Mutebi ow'omulujja omwo. Nalubowa siba akabombo libayimba bwe bati. Bamweyana omulalu bwe bamweyana bamutangira mpiira bungana muliro bamweyana bamutangira mpiira bungana muliro Mutebi nga bamukumidde ekyoto bamanyi yatuulibwako bamweyana Mutebi n'akwata amanda g'abamweyana n'agateeka mu kamwa ne gazikiriramu n'ayoola amalala n'agamaketa ne gazikiriramu n'alinnya n'ekigere bw'ati mu muliro ne guzikira njagala kubasamize bammwe alinnyemu olyoka olaba ensalika ebintu birina amaanyi abantu abatuulwako nga bwe kiri nti omuntu bw'asabira munne edduwa embi it is not good naddala ezaakamulali it's not good okusabira munne obubi era it is not good okukozesa culture ne traditions okuloga omuntu that's where I go where I don't agree with them but obutonde bw'ensi bwabangawo naye buzzemu abafere you cannot grow develop as a nation when you have masqueraders this trying to paint a picture that they are the leaders of traditional healers, traditional etc and culture. Nga tasobola kuzikiza taala ng'ate nze nnyina be mmanyi tebalanga nakulanga tebalanga so I understand we envision a new Uganda but a lot already is happening. You need a streamlined, you need a structured flow of how faith, how worship and praise should be I understand we cannot guide it, we cannot put strict policies, buli muntu they have freedoms of worship, naye bifuuse bya kibbi. Olwaleero luli tubadde tumanyi nnyo bannange kati ne bafaather abamu bataza okufuna excitement, social excitement, online excitement, internet excitement. Some sheikhs badiyo okubasheeka luli baseeka babadde n'ekitiibwa baseeka instead of some of them utilizing harnessing the internet but badiyo bayomba, because the more you debate, you cannot debate faith with the so-called believers. Abaana b'ennaku zino basomye ennyo. Ojja kujja weeteeke mu kudibetinga faith, seeka Kamadi oba faaza Sembirige, ojja osanga abantu nga bayita neeyo ne badde eno bakristo abeerera, omwana ajja akurizoninge out, faaza akagaati kakuve mu ngalo kagwe wansi, omwana togezaako faaza kujjamu gwe kwata kiri nga bakusomeseza theology doctrine, kirinde mu misa. Homiriyo togiteekamu nnyo bukodyo bwa kugiwolereza, jangu tambuza misa nga bwetambula, bw'omali mu misa omwo genda mu homiri, kola ebintu byokka as per the doctrine and the theory. Bafaather muva ku mulamwa gwa homiri ne mulowooza ndi mutusobola eno gye mujjaku. Faather nona kuteekamu oluyaayi mbalabe ennaku zino mweyogeza ebintu manya kakooneko kakolebwa kikabongeko. Muva ku mulamwa. Bafaather muva ku mulamwa. Faather nyweza misa ne bwoba oli ku internet, homiri yebeere in that line. Baseeka munywerere nnyo ku ddaawa ku irimu, togezaako ku proving a point ku baana b'ennaku zino. Omwana seeka ajja kukulizoninga out, owulire ng'ekideevu ekibadde wansi kizze wano, onyingire bwereere. Abalokole anyway mwe muli balungi mukaayana, mbalaba nnyo. Kyani kya musiraamu, kyani kya mulokole, ebintu ebyo si birungi, because when you read the books of religion, foreign eddiini ezo zajja, tejjanga yangamba nga namusoka obusiraamu bwe bwasooka okujja wano nno, obusiraamu bwaddema, olwo nno ng'asituka ngende nyiga emmere, obusiraamu bwadda nno munne ku mulembe gwa kakungulu, bwajjaawo nno gundi n'alyoka ajja mapeera yatuleetera eyaffe, yaleetedde naawo naye kati bwasa awo nno ng'ajjaja genda onyiga emmere. Olugambo bese ebigamba ani anaabigamba munnange, obusiraamu bwe bwasooka wano, bwe bwasooka nno, kakungulu yakola nno munnaaye. Kakati enzikiriza ezo zonna ezajja tuzireke nga bwe ziri, tetuzinnyonnyolera. Let us look at how, because zirina ekitiibwa, otuuka ekibuli, and all should be genda saala veyo, tokireeta ku social media kidebating, genda bagamba omubiri gwa Kristo, amiina, kubanga amasakramentu ofuna. Genda wali kugambe baneeta alookolaawo nya Bible study, kokireeta mu public domain, it is subject to public scrutiny and debate. You won't like it. Getting back to envisioning a new Uganda as per our opinion as William's broadcast, it is the first episode. Shall do others later on. Goodbye.